please help me just feel a little bit of peace and comfort for 1 second. That's all I want, is just 1 second of peace and comfort.
All right, welcome back. We have another exciting guest today. We have Claire in the studio. What's up?
Hi, it's good to be here.
Claire is someone that I've been really looking forward to talking to with about her mission and the past couple of years of her life. She's someone that I've always looked up to, and she's kind of the life of the party. She's my wife's cousin. She lives down the road, but she had an awesome mission experience and went through some pretty crazy things from what I've heard. I'm hoping to hear some more today. But yeah, Claire, if you just want to tell us maybe a little bit about your background, where you're from, and then the decision of going on a mission, when you made that decision and receiving the call. Kind of tell us that whole backstory.
Totally. So yeah, like Noah said, I'm Claire Lomu, and I'm from Lehigh. I grew up here my entire life, and I've been a member of the church my whole life also.
Yeah.
And so I feel like for me, it's always kind of been a no-brainer for a mission. Like, I remember watching all my older cousins serve.
Yeah.
And my dad served also. And I just remember watching all of these people around me always going on missions, especially Lexi, my other cousin. When she first went, and she was the first in our family to go, and she was a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that was something huge to me. I was like, oh, wait, that's actually something super interesting. It's something I would be interested in.
Huh.
So I remember when she got her call.
And it was, how old were you at that?
I had to have been like...
You're pretty young.
I was young, probably like 9 or something.
Yeah.
But I remember it so well.
Super early on, yeah.
Yeah, so early. But I remember something super cool. I was like, wait, I would love to do that also.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole life, I've been kind of preparing for that. Like, oh, wait, I would love to serve a mission like they did. And hearing their stories, and my grandparents served. Mm-hmm. And it was just something I was like, okay, I have to do that also.
Cool.
So I remember when it came up, I was... and it was 2023. Okay. I did a year of college, and it was like my time. This was my time to serve.
Dang.
But I remember I was like, actually, I don't know. I'm not too sure about this. I don't know if you felt the same way. I just had total second guesses, like on everything. I was like, I don't know if I have a testimony for it. I don't know if I'm cut out to be a missionary anymore. And that was totally Satan just getting to my head, being like, are you sure you're like ready for this?
Yeah.
Do you really want to do this? That's a long time away from your family, Claire. And I was like, that's true, it is. Yeah. And I just remember that was the hardest time in my entire life, was leading up to me deciding to go on a mission. Mm-hmm. And I feel like everything was going wrong.
Right.
And I was just like, hey, I don't know why I'm like going through all of this. I'm trying to serve you, Lord. I'm trying to do everything I can for you. Why is my life so hard?
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful for that time, because it really made me just be like, well, I'm just going to trust the process and just go with it.
Yeah.
So I opened my papers, I think in March, but it took me like 5 months to do them.
Dang.
I would every Sunday I would log on and do like one of the pages, or like, yeah. Like I would fill out like my address and then leave. Yeah. And then I would come back next week and like fill out like some medical thing and then leave. Yeah. So it was a really long process, but.
And so was that while you were kind of in that wrestling, figuring out, like those 5 months of you filling out is when you were trying to figure out if this is what you needed to do?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I was like, I might as well just get the ball rolling. Yeah. And see how it goes. So that's what I did. And it was a total shot in the dark. It felt like I was like, okay, well, I'll just see how it goes. Yeah. And I remember I finished my papers one day, and I went and I talked to my stake president, and I was telling him, I was just saying, I don't know about this. I'm feeling super nervous and anxious. I don't know if I can do this. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for him, because he said, Claire, you can do this. And he just submitted them.
Is that right?
Just totally submitted them without like me being like, wait 1 second, don't submit them. He was just like, no, you're ready, and click submit.
No way. Wow.
But I'm so grateful he did that.
I was going to say, looking maybe in the moment, you're like, what in the world are you doing?
Yeah, I was so mad.
But looking back now, I'm sure you're grateful for it.
Totally. Dang. I'm so grateful I did it.
So that is a pretty common experience for people entering that stage of, deciding whether or not to go on a mission, like the adversary really works on you and is doing everything they can to not have you go on a mission.
Yeah.
And so what is some advice for a kid who's maybe, boy or girl is kind of wrestling with that decision? What are some practical things you did to help you figure that out?
That's right. That's a great question. I think something I did was I was just taking it one step at a time. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people feel pressure.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I have to serve a mission.
And did you feel pressure?
I started to, yes.
Yeah.
Because I saw all of my friends going. Right. And I told everyone my whole life that I was going to go. Mm. So now when it was the time, I was like, well, shoot, I actually have to do this.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of pressure, but it was good. Yeah. It was a good type of pressure. I would say the best thing would just to take it day by day and just trust in God because he has a plan for you.
Yeah.
And something that really helped me was going to the temple a lot. During that time, I'd go to the temple, I'd read my scriptures. It's like, sounds like all the basic things, but the most important things to help us out.
No, that's so true. I love you're talking about your process of filling out your mission papers. You kind of spoke to it as if it's maybe a form of procrastination, but I feel like that's cool because you're acting in faith. Like, even though you don't know what the future holds, you were taking little steps, showing the Lord that even if it's at a slower pace, you are moving forward with, trying to do what he wants you to do. And so I feel like that's a great example to try and follow, is just acting, and waiting until the Lord says, hey, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
But just kind of moving forward.
Exactly.
So tell me about receiving your mission call. Where'd you get called to? What was that like?
Okay, so I will never forget this day. I remember I had all my friends and family over.
Oh yeah.
And I got that text like, you can click on the link to open your mission call, and I was so scared. And I remember just being in my backyard and opening it, and I was like shaking the whole time I was trying to read the entire thing. It's a lot.
I know, they've added a lot more.
Totally. And I was just reading through it, and I remember seeing Honduras, and I just froze. And I couldn't even say Tegucigalpa, the capital. I just sat and said Honduras, and I just remember everyone's reaction just was dead silence.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, like, that's so bad. That's what everyone's reaction was.
Right.
And I just remember feeling full panic in my body. Sure. I was like, oh my gosh.
This is not real.
This isn't real. I didn't even know where Honduras was.
Yeah.
It's like super embarrassing, but I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
And I remember my brother's friend, 2 minutes after I opened it, he looks up Honduras and he goes, Claire, did you know that's the murder capital of the world? And just like hearing that right after I know I'm going to go there for 18 months of my life, I was just devastated.
Gosh dang it. It's just the first thing you learn about it.
Yes.
It's like the scariest thing ever.
The worst thing I could have possibly done was go straight to Google.
Yeah.
And read all of the horrible things that it says about Honduras. Just like the homicide rates, the crime rates. And I was just so sad.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just be honest. I remember after everyone left, I went in my sister's room with my family and just bawled my eyes out, and I cried. And I looked at my dad, I'll never forget this, and I said, what kind of father would send his daughter to the murder capital of the world? I said that to my dad, and he just looked at me and said, you're talking to the wrong father, and pointed up.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, yeah, you're right. I have a lot of questions for you, God, on why I'm being sent here. And that was a whole nother process of trusting God, like being sent to Honduras and preparing for that.
Right. So did that confirmation, I mean, most of the people that I've talked to about receiving their mission calls, and it was similar with me, like you eventually, whether sooner or later, you receive kind of a confirmation, a peace at heart, knowing that this is when and where you need to go.
Yeah.
According to God's will. When did you receive that confirmation? Was that not until you were in Honduras? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, I didn't get that confirmation until I was in Honduras.
Really?
And I would say it was it took me 6 months in Honduras in the field.
Oh my gosh.
for me to be like, this is where I need to be.
Holy cow.
But yeah, it took me a while.
That's crazy. I have so much respect for you for that, because I mean, that just takes so much patience. I feel like if that were me, like I wouldn't be able to move forward with my life until I had that confirmation, you know?
Totally, yeah.
Dang, that is so crazy. So how soon after did you leave when you got your call?
So I opened it at like the end of July and left the end of September.
Okay.
I started in the middle of September, home MTC for a week.
Oh, that's
and then I left for Mexico MTC.
Cool.
Yeah.
And did you like the home MTC? What was that like for you?
Okay, that's a good question. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was awesome to meet my district and kind of get like a little feel of what it was going to be like in the MTC before.
Yeah.
It was really helpful because I was able to talk to my district before. So when I arrived in Mexico MTC, I knew people and I knew my district, and we all were like, oh wait, we all know each other.
Yeah.
But those days were really long.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was like, oh my gosh, I need to just go.
Yeah.
Because sitting at home staring at a screen all day was kind of torture.
Oh, for sure.
I was just ready to go.
Yeah.
But it was good. I really liked it.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I mean, obviously that's relatively new, that whole process, but it sounds like, from what I've heard, like it sounds like a pretty good way to like water down that transition.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's not as gnarly, you know?
Yes, that's exactly.
So you went to Mexico MTC, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. That's the best place ever.
Did you go there?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, I love that place.
Yeah, no, that's like one of the coolest places I've ever been. Like the whole campus, the vibe, it's just right there in the heart of Mexico City, and outside the walls it's just complete chaos, but you go in there and it's just like this little heavenly
Did you go to the temple?
Yes, we did.
It's so cool.
Yeah, they have a really beautiful temple. So did you like the MTC? Were you kind of stoked on that reality of learning Spanish and the people you were with?
Yeah. I would say my first week I was pretty homesick. I remember I would just sit in class and just be sad. I'm like, I miss my mom. I miss the food, especially.
Yeah. We probably went to Lake Powell during that or something. Went on a cool vacation.
You guys were all leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible. I just remember everyone, starting school even and going on vacations. And I was just in Mexico, MTC, not like the beach of Mexico.
Right.
But after, I would say about a week, I loved it. I thought it was really cool because it was like a big college campus, but of missionaries.
Yeah.
I'm sure you experienced that too. And it was just really cool to see everyone your age doing the same thing as you. It made you feel kind of less lonely in a sense, that there was so many other missionaries going to do the same thing, but in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
It was cool to ask people like, where are you going to serve? Where are you going? And I really liked that. I loved learning about all the gospel topics and what we were going to teach. I thought that was super helpful.
Yeah.
And just having it like broken down for us. And Spanish was fun. I loved it in the MTC. And I remember at the end of MTC, I was thinking, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm fluent in Spanish. But that was not the case when I got out in the field.
Yeah.
I knew nothing.
No, it's the most humbling experience to go out and have your first real conversation in Spanish. It just tears you down.
Yeah.
You're feeling like $1 million walking out of the MTC. But no, that's so funny. So as far as I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, but your preparation, you talked about learning the gospel topics and, probably studying a lot and preach my gospel and learning the lessons that you would teach and all of that stuff. How did you feel, or what did you do to prepare for that, if anything, before your mission?
Yeah, I would say the best thing I did was I was just always reading the Book of Mormon before.
Cool.
I remember my goal was to finish the Book of Mormon again before I left on my mission, because I just know how important that is and how important that would be to teach other people about the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
So that would be something I would always read every day before my mission. It would always be reading the Book of Mormon and finding good verses I could use to help people, or verses that I liked. That was the thing that I did the most. And I loved it. It helped me out a ton.
That's super
with just
cool.
my scripture scriptural knowledge.
Yeah.
Just with that sense. But something I wish I would have done, I didn't even know Preach My Gospel existed. Like, I had no idea before my mission that was even a thing.
Right.
And I really wish I had that before my mission, just to read it even.
Yeah.
And just to like study it, because I loved Preach My Gospel. Yeah. That was like the key to my mission was that book. It helped so much.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish I had that before, or like known about it even. Right. So I can just go and study it and read it.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you brought that up, because I was in that same boat. And that's Preach My Gospel is probably the main reason why I'm even doing all of these videos, because it really changed my life. And first of all, it answers basically any question you could have as a missionary.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to personal discipleship or just practical ways to connect with people, and to love people. But I one thing I wanted to touch on too, because you were saying how you didn't really even know it existed. That's why I'm trying to bring awareness to this. Not that it only exists, but also kind of the nature of how it's written. Totally. Because it's not even necessarily like a book that you read front to back, you know?
Exactly.
It's broken down. I'll show the camera. So it has these different chapters, right? And chapter 3 is kind of the core of the whole manual that goes over the different lessons that you teach as a missionary. But then there's different topics: seek and rely on the Spirit, use the power of the Book of Mormon, like what Claire was doing, seek Christ-like attributes, learn your mission language. And so there's all these practical ways for you to go and read and get resources, and it points you in the right direction. I feel like it's such a good starting point.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I always talk about how this is the most important manual to me, like even within all of church material.
Yeah. And
that can sound blasphemous when I, maybe prioritize it over the Book of Mormon or the Bible. And I'm not necessarily saying that, but I say it because it points you to the Book of Mormon.
Exactly.
And to the Bible, and like actually helps you effectively study those things.
Totally.
Sorry, I could go on such a rant about Preach My Gospel, because it's just like it's so money. But what were some of the key sections or parts in Preach My Gospel that helped you at the, maybe in those early stages of your mission?
Yeah. Okay. Well, something I loved was actually the first page right there where it says the first presidency message.
Okay.
I think right there that brings a ton of power. Like, that who was writing this and who was praying about it for us was the first presidency, and like our prophet. I think that's just so powerful right there, is that the prophet in that first presidency was writing this out for us, for our church. And like you said, it's not even just for missionaries.
Right.
It's for everyone in the church.
Yeah.
And I just remember that brought me so much comfort and joy, like knowing like the power that this book came from.
Yeah.
Obviously from God to the first presidency to us.
Right.
And I just loved reading that. Yeah. And I remember I had like that whole page like marked out.
Yeah.
And just highlighted. Like, it was so awesome. I loved it.
That's so cool.
And that's on the first page, right? So it's just like right off the bat, it's just
it sets up the book so well. And I really I have it highlighted here, how it starts with "Dear fellow missionary." I felt like that was always what stood out to me. It's like, whose team are you on? Like, who's backing you up? The prophet, the first presidency, all of their wives, the leadership of the church, all your family. I remember earlier on in my mission, I was, feeling pretty lonely and insecure and kind of confused about what I was doing. I felt like I wasn't making any progress. And I remember my mom telling me to remember who's backing you up. And I honestly would envision when I was, talking to people or knocking a door and I was feeling nervous, I would literally like imagine the army of people behind me, loved ones, the prophet and the apostles like behind me. And it always gave me so much confidence.
Yeah.
But I've been really excited to talk to you about your mission, because I honestly feel like we have a lot of similarities with maybe some of the struggles that we went through. And I don't know if that's true or not. I just remember reading your emails and kind of your whole journey. And I saw so much of what I went through.
Yeah.
like with the language and just the people and trying to figure out what you're doing, you know? But tell us about those first few months in Honduras. You know, it sounded like the Mexico MTC was a dream, but then reality hit in Honduras. What was that like?
Yeah. Okay, so I would say, like, to be totally honest, the first couple months of my mission were so hard and pretty brutal.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful for those first couple of months.
Right.
But like you said, it was just like I was having the best time of my life. And I feel like I got out in the field and just hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
I got out there and I couldn't understand anyone. I remember like trying to talk to people, or even my companion, because my companion was from Guatemala.
Okay. So native Spanish, yeah.
And she didn't speak any English, and I didn't speak any Spanish.
Right.
So us trying to talk to each other was so hard, and I felt like impossible. And I don't know why. I just feel like the Spanish I learned in the MTC wasn't the Spanish that people were speaking. I thought they were actually speaking another language.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this isn't Spanish.
Yeah.
And so that was super hard, just not being able to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Because I remember being sent to my first area, and it was up in the middle of nowhere in these mountains. And I didn't know where we were or what was going on, because I couldn't ask my comp. I didn't know how to ask that.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? And how far are we from anything? Because when I remember pulling into our area, there was nothing. It was like high up in the mountains, and there was just nothing there. And I just remember just feeling completely isolated from anything. Sure. And I remember texting my mom, and I was like saying, if anything happens to me, no one would know I would die up here, because there's nothing up here. Like, no one would know if anything happened to me. I was obviously being super dramatic, but that's how I felt.
But I mean, those are real feelings.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it was super humbling, to say the least. Those first couple of months, I just remember walking those streets, those dirt roads every single day, just not being able to talk to anyone or not understand what's going on, having different food, everything was just different. Mm-hmm. It was a huge cultural shock too. Yeah. Just all of that. And I remember the only person I could talk to was God. Yeah. And I would sit and I would pray to him, and I would ask him, like, are you mad at me? I thought he was mad at me, and that's why he sent me to Honduras, for no one to talk to and just kind of struggle and be alone. Or like, I thought I was alone, but I wasn't. Right. So I would just pray for hours and hours and hours every single day to him, just saying whatever. Yeah. Because that was my only person to talk to. Yeah. So I would just tell him all of my things, all of my struggles, and then I would say sorry. I'd be like, okay, I'm sorry for complaining. Yeah. Like, please forgive me for complaining. I just needed to rant for a little bit. Yeah. And it was really cool, because I remember those first couple of months, I started seeing all these little tender mercies and all of these little miracles every single day that started happening. Because I know the mission taught me that he really does know me personally and love me, because some ways he would show me that he was there for me is like humor. Something I love is like funny stuff. Yeah. And I would see some crazy old lady doing something crazy on that street, or like someone would say some funny Spanish word that I didn't even understand, but I thought it was funny. Yeah. And I remember that was a huge blessing, as I started seeing God's hand direct everything in my life in Honduras, in that little tiny town. Yeah. And a story really fast that I loved, that I'll never forget, is when I remember one night I was with that comp that I couldn't talk to. Yeah. And the only way we could talk was Google Translate. We would talk to each other on Google Translate and hand each other the phone. Yeah. And I remember we were walking to an appointment one night, and it was pitch black and it was raining super hard, so that all the power went out. And in this area is just surrounded by forests, by these huge pine trees. Okay. And I remember just thinking, like, I'm going to die here. I don't know. My mind was just like, if I die, like, no one's going to know. Yeah. And I just remember feeling so scared and so alone. Wow. And I remember this prayer. I just was begging, like, in my heart and in my head, like, Heavenly Father, please help me just feel a little bit of peace and comfort for 1 second. Yeah. That's all I want, just 1 second of peace and comfort. And the second I said amen, I remember I felt something on my hand, like a little bite on my hand, and I looked down, and there was this dog, this white dog, and he was little, and he was just like sitting up, staring at me and just smiling.
No
like it
way.
sounds weird, but he actually was just like smiling at me. And something about me is I love dogs.
Yeah.
So like he totally sent that dog to me.
Yeah.
And I just looked down at the dog, and he followed us all the way to our next appointment, which was like 20 minutes away.
Oh, wow.
And every single day since that prayer, that dog followed us everywhere.
No
He
way.
sat outside our house and slept because he was a stray.
Yeah.
He was just a skinny little thing.
Yeah.
He sat outside of our house and just slept there outside of it. And we would wake up and we would walk out to go start our day. He would follow us.
No way.
And everywhere we went, he would go to lunch with us, to appointments. So he was even there at church. And I'd always joke, like, we need to get him baptized.
Yeah.
But like, he would like even be at baptisms that we would have in that area.
way.
He would be sitting in the church just watching.
Are you serious?
Like, it's so crazy. It sounds so made up and like out of a movie, but
yeah.
it was so real. Like, that was God. I know to this day that was God sending an angel to me.
Absolutely.
Like through that dog.
Yeah.
And it was just something that comforted me. And I don't know, like there's not even any words to describe it. It was just so crazy. And
I didn't know that whole backstory. I remember like reading about, in your letters talking about this dog. And did you have a name for him?
Yeah, I named him Manu because, well, the reason why is because another huge thing, like you said, like you would always think about like the people like behind you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd always think that too. And I'd always think about like the angels behind me protecting me. And I named it Manu because my grandpa that died, I never even knew him. It was my dad's dad when he died when my dad was 14.
Oh, wow.
And his name was Manu.
Okay.
So, and I always felt like that was like my grandpa doing that.
Yes.
So I named him Manu after my grandpa.
That's so
like
awesome.
Respectfully.
Yeah, no, I love that. Well, I mean, God works in mysterious ways, but he knows us.
Totally.
And that's probably an experience that you can talk about to show that God knows you and he's aware of you, even when you feel like you're lost and that you're forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And a mission will do that to you, and it makes you definitely feel those ways. But usually God has a reason behind it.
Yeah.
Dang, that's so crazy. So I want to talk more about, maybe some people you taught or inspiring, memories or stories. But before we get into that,
okay,
I'd love to hear, you go into it thinking this is the murder capital of the world.
Yeah.
Like, do you have any stories that you really felt like your life was on the line or things were scary or got crazy fast that you feel comfortable sharing?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I have one experience. Well, first of all, I never really felt like in danger. And I know like because I had that tag on because I know like Jesus Christ was on my chest, and so even though it is like a scary place, as they say, I never really felt scared. But I did have an experience that was scary. Like looking back, I'm like, wait, what the heck?
Yeah.
But in that moment, I didn't feel scared. I think because it just happened so fast.
Right.
But I remember I was outside of the church, and it was me and my companion and two other sisters, and these two youth that were in our group also. And we were doing like a little meeting outside of the church. We were like sitting outside because they're all gated, all the churches there.
Right.
So we're sitting outside of there, just having talking about like what members we can help, like what people were teaching and how the other members can help us with that. Anyway, so we're all just talking about that. And I remember one of the youth, he was sitting on his motorcycle, but it was like facing the church. So he was facing the church and the street was right here, the main road. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I just remember I was looking down because we're all sitting in a circle, and I looked up and I saw these two guys on a motorcycle pull up. And one, like back.
Is this inside the gate?
This is outside of the
just
gate.
Just outside the gate.
Yeah, because
he's looking at the church.
Yes, okay. Exactly. Because we were actually waiting for the bishop to come unlock the gate. So that's why we were just sitting outside.
I see.
Because the bishop was taking forever and wasn't coming to unlock the gate. So we're like, let's just start the meeting.
Yeah.
So anyways, these two guys on a motorcycle pull up. And I remember the guy on the back hopped off and ran up to the youth sitting on the motorcycle facing the church. So he didn't see him running up.
Right.
But when I looked up, I saw him running up. And he put, he had a gun and he put it to his head. And I remember, like, I was just like, wait, what the heck is happening? I thought it was a joke. It was weird. I was like, what is going on? And he was like, give me your phone. And the youth, like, took out his phone and gave it to him. And he ran back to the motorcycle. And then the guy driving was like, no, like the girls, you have to get the girls. So he, like, turned around and looked at us because all the sisters were there. It was me and my comp and two other sisters.
Oh, my God.
And the guy on the motorcycle was like, las muchachas. Like, you need to get them too. And he turns around and runs to us. And he has the gun out and he's pointing it at all of our faces. Just like, give me your phone. And just like screaming at us. So we all just hurry and take out our phones, right? And hurry and give it to him. And then he just took them off.
Did you like hand them to him or toss them to him?
Immediately, just like we all just took it out and hurry and handed it to him.
So he was like really close to you.
Super close. I would say like to my face with the gun.
You're kidding.
Like, and he was just like doing that to all of us. And he was like pointing at all of our faces so we could hurry and all give our phones. Oh my God. And it was just like, it felt like it was in slow motion.
Right.
Kind of a thing. Like, what's happening? Your brain can't even really process what's happening. So we just all hurried and gave our phones, and then he grabbed them all and then hopped on, and then they left. Oh my gosh. And I think we were all just kind of sitting there in shock, like, what the heck just happened?
What'd you do? After that?
We just all ran to a restaurant across the street. I don't know why. I don't know what that was going to do because I don't think we had anyone's phone number, like our president's phone number or anything, or our zone leader.
Yeah.
So we all hopped in a taxi really fast and went to our zone leader's area because they were close.
Yeah.
But they were in this huge meeting. So we were outside waiting for them for like an hour. Wow. And finally told them. And the thing is, in that mission is that happens a lot. So they were kind of like, I'm sorry, sisters. And I think the next week we got a new phone. But it was kind of just like,
brush it off.
Yeah, it happens.
Oh my gosh. Another day in the life.
Totally. Just well, sorry, guys. Better luck next time, kind of a thing.
So insane. So what? I just am trying to figure out how I would kind of reflect on that experience moving forward. Like, how do you brush it off? How do you carry on with the work? And just you're at peace with the fact that you almost just got shot.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
What did you do? What did those next couple days or weeks look like? Was it crazy, or maybe you did just brush it off and kind of move on?
It was weird because we all kind of just did brush it off and move along. That sounds so weird and crazy, but that's kind of how it was. Just, well, we have work to do.
Right.
Like, we'll just keep going. Like, we're going to keep ongoing with the people that we're teaching, and we have more important things to do than worry about it. And it was a huge like faith. It was like a huge trust and faith in God. Also, like, okay, well, He's protecting us.
Yeah.
Because something way worse could have happened. Like,
absolutely.
He could have totally just shot us right there. And then it happens all the time down there.
Oh my gosh.
So He totally could have done that, but it didn't.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, okay, well, it was almost like a testimony, showing like, okay, God's got our back.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Well, and even you saying that, looking back on it, it was scary, but in the moment you didn't feel as scared. Yeah. Because maybe you should have.
Totally.
And, I mean, yeah, that's God working through the Spirit, helping you feel, somewhat at peace with the crazy circumstances that you're in. Dang, that's insane. So you were with 3 other sisters. Were they all native?
Yeah.
Hispanics or from Honduras or from other countries?
They were, so my comp was from Peru.
Okay.
And then the other girl's from Mexico. And then one of the other girls, she was actually from the United States also, but she looked like Latina.
Okay, cool.
So she looked like that because her mom was from Peru.
Nice.
So yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I was gonna say, to those of you watching, if you've been to a foreign country, or especially in South America or a Hispanic country, like being just a white American, like you stick out.
Totally.
And especially like a girl, you know, like a young white girl out in the middle of Honduras, up in the mountains in the middle of nowhere. Like that's the most rare thing ever. Like kids look at you like you're an alien, you know?
They would like touch my skin and they would think it had like powers. And my hair's still dark. Like my hair's dark, but they would all say I was blonde.
Is it really?
And isn't that weird?
That's
they would
so
say
funny.
I was blonde, and because you're right. It's just so out of like, it's just like you don't see that there. Yeah. And so like the fact that I was just walking there, they were like, wait, what the heck?
Dang.
It was only me and 4 other American girls in that whole mission.
In the whole mission?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So yeah, I mean, you won or lost the lottery with that mission call. Yeah. That's pretty rare. But okay, well, I mean, that is about as intense as a story as I could have imagined. I wasn't even expecting that. But for the kid or the person who has their mission call to Tegucigalpa, Honduras, you know, they might be scared now, but let's talk about the positive. Talk about the people. Talk about the culture. I know that you grew to love them on a whole new level. I taught a lot of Hondurans on my mission, and they have such a beautiful culture and spirit that I think we can learn from. But
yes, I remember you telling me that.
Oh, like, yeah?
You were like, I taught a lot of Hondurans, and they were like my favorite.
Oh, no, they're the best people. In the food, the baleadas or whatever.
The baleadas are so fire. Good. They're so good. Yeah, I love Honduras now. Yeah. So if anyone is called there to Tegucigalpa, don't be scared.
Yeah.
I love it. It makes me sad that all of that, if you Google it, it says all of those bad things about it, because I would never say any of those things about Honduras or the people. And I would say like every country is dangerous, right? Like Absolutely. Even in America, there's like scary cities like Chicago.
Yeah.
Right? Like
my brother's going to Chicago in a couple weeks.
Wait, but don't be scared.
No, it's true.
But like, or even Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Like, there's some really dangerous parts down there.
Absolutely.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
But it's like there's always scary places, you know, but that doesn't mean they're bad.
Right.
And oh my gosh, I just love it there so much. I would do anything to go back.
Wow.
And the reason why I love it so much is, of course, like the baleadas, those were so good in the food, but 100% the people.
Yeah.
They were amazing.
Yeah.
I love the Hondurans. They even though for my first couple of months, or first while, I couldn't speak anything, and my Spanish was terrible, and they probably didn't understand anything I was saying, but they were so welcoming. It didn't matter that I couldn't speak perfect Spanish. They would give me anything. They were always super inviting and tell me to come in.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't want to hear our message.
Right.
They would just be like, come in, missionaries, come in, come sit down. What do you want to drink? Here's something to eat. Always, always, always.
Yeah. Giving you everything, even though they didn't have anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally. I remember I shared this. I had so many experiences where they would give us stuff. I was in one of my areas. It was so, so poor. Like, I've never seen anything like this, like that place. And they had nothing over there. And I just remember they were the most giving people ever. And a story I always share is how I remember walking into this girl's house one day, and she had such a hard life. She was raising her 3 kids in this tiny house. It was probably it was smaller than this room.
Really?
It was so small. And she didn't have a job either. It's hard to get jobs down there.
Yeah.
And I remember she was so excited because she saved up $5 to buy us a drink. So she was like, missionaries, I'm so excited because I saved up enough money for you guys. I finally can get you guys something. And we were like, no, you do not have to do that. Yeah. We're good, I promise. But she was like, no, please, I want to do this. So she ran out and went to this little gas station store that they have there. And she bought a Coke. They love Coca-Cola down there. And she came back, and I remember she gave my comp and I a cup, and she while she was like unscrewing the Coke, I remember looking down and my cup was just full of ants.
Oh.
I can't even express how many ants there were in this cup.
No.
It was full. And I remember like thinking, what do I do in this situation?
Yeah.
Because she was about to come over and pour it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And it was just a lot going through my head, and she poured the Coke in on top of all, like it was hundreds of ants. Gosh. And I just looked down and I'm like, she saved up all of her money to buy this Coke. So I just remember, like, I said a little prayer, like, okay, just please help me through this. Yeah. And I just drank the entire cup. And I just remember just feeling all the little ants. It was so disgusting, like, go down my throat. But I would do it again because the look on her face, like, she was just so excited to give us just anything. Yeah. And that was like that cup of Coke. Wow. And just like another huge example is that they would do anything, those people down there, for anyone. Yeah. And I don't know, they are the most Christ-like people I have ever met.
That's something that I continually am going back to as I have these conversations about people's missions, is how when it's so funny how you learn who Christ is through people who don't even know about him that much. Yes. You know, obviously in Honduras, I'm sure if anything like other Latin countries, like they're God-fearing, like Jesus-loving people naturally, and they probably have a basic understanding of who he is. But it's crazy how someone so humble and almost childlike in a lot of ways when it comes to maybe knowledge of the gospel or Jesus Christ can embody him so well. Exactly. And you learn as a missionary, you're the one who's teaching and learning these things and trying to help people come closer to Christ. But it's funny how most of the time you're the one on the receiving end of all of those things, and people are serving you and looking for opportunities to serve you. It's just the most inspiring thing. Yes. Yes, that's a perfect way of putting it. But so cool. Was there anyone that you taught on your mission that was just life-changing for you to see, you know, whether it was their progress of coming closer to Christ or repenting, or what was a story that you have that maybe talks about that?
Yes. Oh my, I have so many people that I can
I'm
think
sure you have
of,
thousands.
The first person that comes to my mind that was really cool was this kid named Carlos, and he was my age. He was 21, and it was super cool how we found him. He lived in the middle of nowhere. It was super high up on this mountain, and we would have never found this house, but God totally directed us to him. And I remember he was walking the street one day, and his sister actually reached out to us and said, he wants to learn English, because a lot of people there want to learn English, and they would like see me and be like, wait, help teach us. Yeah. So I remember I was like, wait, like I'll help you. I will help you learn English. And my comp at the time, I had one American my whole mission, and I was actually with her at this time. Cool. So we were like, we'll help you. Like, we'll help you learn this. So we went over to his house, and I remember we were teaching him, and we were actually teaching him all the lessons in English. Oh, nice. Which was really cool. Love that. But it was hard because at that time I had known more Spanish. Yeah. So trying to... Especially like the lessons and that vocabulary. It sounds so dumb. Like, I forgot. Like, I'm not trying to be one of those people, but trying to speak teach a lesson in English after you learned it in Spanish was so hard. Yeah. But it was fun. So we were teaching him all in English. And it was so cool to watch him learn all of the things, and his eyes would just like light up, and he would have so much questions for us. And I'll never forget when we were teaching him about the restoration, and we were talking to him about Joseph Smith and about how he restored the church. And we invited him. We said, Carlos, we want you to pray about it tonight and ask God if this is true, because we can sit here and tell you all day about him and about his story and all of these things, but we need you to sit down and pray about it. Yeah. And he was like, okay, I'll do that. Yeah. And inviting people as a missionary is one of the most important things.
Absolutely.
Because you can go out and teach them all of these amazing things and they could be like, wait, cool, that's awesome. But they'll never actually have a confirmation if they don't pray about it and receive the Spirit and the Holy Ghost telling them like, yes, it's true.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'll always remember when we were teaching him and telling him to pray about it, we texted him that night, like, don't forget to pray. And then I think the next day he called us and he's like, Hermanas, like, I had to tell you something. Can I call you guys? And we were like, yes, of course. And he called us and he was like, I prayed about what you guys said and I had a really spiritual experience with that. He said, I asked God, is Joseph Smith a true prophet? Are the things that the Hermana is teaching me true?
Yeah.
Like, I just need to know if this is true or not. And it's funny because God answers prayers in a lot of different ways. Sometimes he makes us wait a little bit longer, right? Yeah. Or sometimes it's kind of immediate. And it was like an immediate answer for him. And he got a voice in his head. He said that was like as strong, like it was as clear as it can be, a voice in his head saying, yes, Joseph Smith was a true prophet and everything that the Hermanas are teaching you is true.
No way.
And he was just
the day after.
The day after.
Oh my goodness.
Which is like that. It doesn't really happen like that. It's kind of more gradual. Yeah. Sure. So I remember me and my comp were just like screaming. We were like, yes, like that's so cool, Carlos. Like that's awesome that you had this. And that was just amazing just to see him have so much faith, because the reason why he got an answer like that, because he had so much faith in that, and he got that answer and he's like, I want to be baptized. Yeah. And that was really cool, but it was a huge work in process. Like he ended up having a ton of family issues and his family hated us.
Really?
Yeah. His sister that actually brought us to him first was like, no way. Like you guys can't talk to him anymore. And it was like a huge thing, and it ended up taking a lot longer, right? Satan was working extra hard on him, but we were not giving up on him because we knew he was so good. Yeah. And we saw how hard Satan was working on him. Yeah. We were like, we're not giving up on Carlos. He's awesome. So anyways, like long story short, he ended up getting baptized. Okay. But it was a week after I left my area.
Oh, no way. Like, no. Dang.
But it was still so cool to hear about it and say that he got baptized. And I just barely heard that I think now he's preparing to go on a mission.
Is that right?
It was just so cool.
Dang, that's crazy. Yeah. Do you keep good connection with a lot of people from your mission? Like I'm sure with Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or whatever.
It's way easier now. Yeah. WhatsApp is huge.
Yes, they love their WhatsApp. I know. That's awesome. Dang, there's so many good takeaways from that. I wanted to, as you were talking about inviting, I thought, I mean, in the end of Preach My Gospel, I think it's chapter 10, talks about, helping people make and keep commitments. But the cool thing about Preach My Gospel, like I said earlier, chapter 3 has kind of all the lessons and doctrine you teach. But each lesson, it starts with the questions, right? Yeah. It starts with the invitations. And I just remember it took me a while to kind of figure out the most effective way to prepare for a lesson, but it sounds like you and your companion did a really good job with Carlos with working backwards. You start with the commitment or the invitation, right? What is something we can invite them to do to take their next step towards Christ and his church. And then you build the lesson, and then you can work backwards, say, okay, the restoration is what will help us get to that point, or the plan of salvation, the gospel, or the commandments. And I think that it's super cool to do that so much when you're teaching, because then you start to apply it into your own life. Yeah. And realize, I need to be asking myself these questions and furthering my conversion. Do you have anything to speak to that as you helped people make and keep commitments or come closer to Jesus Christ? What did that do for you and your conversion to Christ and his work? Yeah. Something that really helped me was watching them use that faith that we, like with our invitations with them, was watching them use that and like go to action with it.
And I think that was such a huge testimony builder for me.
Yeah.
Just to watch people go and do that, because it helped my conversion. I feel like my mission was also my conversion.
Yeah.
Because my whole life I was kind of off of the testimony of my parents and my family and my older cousins and all of that. But with my mission, watching people act on these invitations, and they would actually go and try and ask in faith, helped my faith.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. It was like you said, like they were helping you. For sure. I feel like even more than I was helping them.
No, that's so true. This is kind of on another topic, but I love that you were able to feel that same connection, because I felt that time and time again on my mission. Something that helped me a ton on my mission too was my siblings that were on missions. Mm-hmm. And maybe you can speak to that too, because I know your brother Mason is out right now, and he left while you were on your mission, right? Yeah. And so what was that? I mean, you were maybe a year into your mission when that happened. Yep. And so you're cruising at that point. Like you'd kind of figured out the reality of it. Totally. And, your Spanish was probably really good and whatnot. But what was that like, having a brother starting his mission, probably going through those rough few months? What did you do to help him, and what did he do to help you? Or,
it was so cool to have both of us be out in the field at the same time. Yeah. Like it was cool to have an elder Lomu and like an hermana Lomu at the same time. Super cool. And both have that same tag on. It even helped me just knowing that I had a brother doing the same thing that I was doing across the world. Yeah. So I think the best advice I gave him was like to trust in the process. Take it day by day. Yeah. Because I remember he had one point where his mission that was super hard because he couldn't speak the language. Same exact thing that I went through and so many other missionaries go through. And I was just telling him to just trust in the Lord in every single step with everything. Yeah. And to trust his timing that it'll work out. Yeah. And even though it might feel never ending, that time period, like, or even like the heaviness of the time you have, like, I still have. Yeah, I totally, like, I still have 2 years. I still have 18 months left. Yeah. I just remember telling him to enjoy the hard. Yeah. Even though that's easier said than done. Yeah. But if you embrace that hard and enjoy that hard, the way you come out of it is just so rewarding and it's just really cool to look back on. So I was like telling him, I was like, Mason, I know you're going through it right now. I remember feeling the exact same way you were. Yeah. But I promise you it's worth it. Yeah. And the testimony you're building right now is going to change so many lives. Right. Not even the people you teach. Like, I feel like even like the kids of the people you teach, like generations and generations. For sure. It's very, I think the way that trials, the purpose of trials in our life are often for the benefit of others. Mm-hmm. And you see that a ton on your mission and the things that you go through, or the things that you went through before your mission. Yeah. Like I think I have a friend on a mission who had a crazy upbringing and, got caught in a bad crowd kind of growing up and kind of made this U-turn, and he's serving his mission now, but, went through a lot of stuff when it comes to, drugs and alcohol and the law of chastity and those kinds of things that he had to battle with. But that makes him such an effective missionary when he goes and teaches people who have dealt with those same things. Yeah, because he can relate. Exactly. And so I love too what you and your dad did. The advice that your dad gave to you when you got your mission call, and then the advice you gave to Mason, I think is great advice for missionaries out there, or people preparing to go on a mission, is turning to God. Yeah. Rather than you saying, oh, Mason, like, this is what I did. This is the things that I did to get through this. It's like, no, Mason, like, turn to God. Yeah. Like, he's who will be there for you. He'll be your little stray dog. Exactly. Or your angel, boosting you up and giving you the confidence that you need. But I love that so much. Yeah. What is maybe just wrapping up, what is some advice you can give to a kid or a young woman who has their call to Honduras or a place similar to that? What are some things they can do that you wish you would have known beforehand? I would just say have 2 feet in from the start. I just remember feeling so 1 foot there and 1 foot at home.
Yeah.
So I would say my best advice for anyone going on a mission is just to be totally in it.
Yeah.
Because time really does fly.
Yeah.
It's crazy how fast it ends up going.
Yeah.
And even though being out in the field, I was like, this is taking forever.
Yeah.
This is taking so long. But my best advice is to enjoy every single second.
Love it.
Every single second, because you only will wear that tag for so long.
Yeah.
Like, and have it like visible, like Jesus Christ's name right there. So like embrace it and just teach everyone and just like show them why you have his name on your chest right there.
Yeah.
So I would just say to be both feet in, all the way in.
I love that.
Advice I wish I would have taken my first 6 months on the mission.
Yeah.
Just be all in.
That's, I mean, that's such great advice. And even though it took you maybe that first 6 months to figure that out, I'm sure you're grateful for that process, considering,
totally.
you know, where you're at now and in life. Cause you know, life doesn't get any easier when you come home.
Totally.
And if anything, it's harder in a lot of ways. You know, you gotta focus on other things. But Claire, you rock. Seriously, thank you. It's been so fun to talk to you about your mission, and you're such a good example to all of us. And I hope people watching will take to heart what you've said today. We talked about, I kind of referenced what we talked about in Preach My Gospel, but Claire talked about the beginning, the first presidency message. So go check that out. I referred to, this is on page 30, just the message of the restoration, just the start of the lessons. But yeah, that's kind of the recap of Preach My Gospel if you want to check that out. But yeah, Claire, thank you so much for coming.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You're the best.
You rock. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Like, totally.
It's been awesome to chat with you about your mission and whatnot. But yeah, cool. We will see you on the next video.